Hello everyone, the Nerdy Steve here. I'm going to be featuring today a standard Spellcraft mono white deck. I'm going to talk about the overall game plan, go over some of the specific card choices, and then we'll play some matches. So let's go. This deck is going to be different from a lot of the other mono white decks in standard, and for a lot of reasons, but one of the main notable absences is we do not have Thalia in our deck. And Thalia is a card that makes all non-creature spells cost one more. And Thalia is in a lot of white decks because it stops your opponent from playing very, very quickly and from playing to their game plan. In a lot of traditional mono white stuff, we have Redain, we have Elite Spellbinder, right? Or Spellcaster, to interrupt what your opponent is doing while being aggressive. Okay? This deck is just aggressive. And so you have to play with that in mind because the longer the game goes, the more likely you're going to lose. And with that, let's go a little further. So we want to look at our creatures, which we have Clever Lumimancer, Monk of the Open Hand, Clarion Spirit, Illuminator Virtuoso, and Leonin Lightscribe. We have Mavinda, but we'll talk about that later. These creatures all interact with you casting instants and sorceries. Okay? Clever Lumimancer and Leonin Lightscribe both trigger just whenever you cast any. And Leonin Lightscribe pumps up your team, and Clever Lumimancer pumps up itself. Okay? Then we have Clarion Spirit and Monk of the Open Hand, which trigger when you cast a second spell each turn. So that spell does not have to be an instant or sorcery, but it can. And then we have Illuminator Virtuoso, which, whenever it becomes a target of a spell you control, it connives it. So, now we can put all of those together and look at a lot of our one-drops in instants and sorceries. So we have Guiding Voice, which puts a +1/+1 counter on a creature, and then you learn. And so, learning, you get to pick an instant or sorcery, which we have in our sideboard, and put into your hand, which you can then cast that turn. With Guiding Voice by itself, and again with Homestead Courage, which puts a counter on a creature and has flashback for 1 mana, these cards allow you to cast 2 spells in a single turn, which, oh my god, works with Clever Lumimancer, Monk of the Open Hand, Clarion Spirit, Virtuoso, and Leonin Lightscribe. It's like all these creatures are there for you to cast stuff, right? And so in an ideal game plan or turn, not ideal, but something that can happen is you can cast Clever Lumimancer on turn 1, and then turn 2, Homestead Courage, the Lumimancer, and flash it back, and you attack for 6, and then you have a 2/3 that you can then pump up later, or on your third turn you can cast maybe another creature, and then do another explosive start or explosive attack on the 4th turn, right? So you can, the game plans with this deck can change depending on your opening hand, but it's always going to be very, very similar in that you want to cast your Magecraft creatures and then pump them up with a really big attack, right? You also can turn 1 Monk of the Open Hand, and then again, second turn, maybe you only cast a Leonin Lightscribe, but then on your third turn, if you Guiding Voice, and then a what card can you get for 2 mana? Environmental Sciences. Now you pump up everything by 2. The monk gets a permanent +1/+1 counter, and so on. We also have Light Up the Way, which is another instant speed interaction that gives a +1/+1 counter on a creature. And it can also bounce something that is going to die from targeted removal. So there's some interaction in that way. But again, I want to really the idea of the deck is you have your spellcraft creatures, and then you want to have a really, really big attack with them. And sometimes you have to do your math, and the math isn't always very easy to do on how to get the most efficient attacks. And then sometimes you have to go, ooh, I can deal 4 more damage this turn, but then next turn I can deal 8 more damage. But is it worth it if your opponent can then have interaction or removal and what you're leaving up to be vulnerable, right? Then the final card we haven't discussed is Mavinda. Mavinda is a card that, quite frankly, nobody really understands. But what it really does is allows you to cast cards from your graveyard to reuse them. And it's mainly going to be Guiding Voice and Light the Way. So Mavinda interacts with all your spellcraft and Magecraft triggers and stuff because you get to cast them again from your graveyard and trigger everything more. Mavinda is also one of the few ways this deck can maybe go a little longer term, because a lot of the times in decks like this, on turn 5, you've already used as much as you can, and there's nothing more you can do. And Mavinda does give you some of that late game card advantage. Hall of Oracles is a card that it allows you to, it interacts with your +1, with your instant and sorcery theme by allowing you to redistribute +1/+1 counters as you see fit, which can then, it's really, really important with Clever Lumimancer, because as a 0/1 creature, it can really be useless if you don't have any instance of sorceries. So being able to put +1/+1 counters via Guiding Voice or Courage or Hall of Oracles is something you might want to prioritize. And then we have the sideboard, which is a lot of learn cards, and then just some interaction and removal that, you know, different matchups might need something more specific, but in general, it's not going to really change what your game plan is and how you expect to play. So with that, let's go play some matches. Okay, we will play first, obviously. Or I think our opponent's playing. No, we're playing first. And we keep. So we have our creature that we really need to protect. And I get to Plains, Clever Lumimancer, and then turn 2. Maybe we can Guiding Voice it, then Hall of Oracles. Maybe we want more lands. Harvester. What we're worried about, if they have another thing with blood that can then kill this Clever Lumimancer, we wouldn't love that. A Massacre only kills that. Iteration is good, I think. Volted Surge. If they do a land, they get to kill this one if they want. Oh, alright. Oh, our opponent realized they don't have the blood. So... a little unfortunate for them. I'm gonna go all in here. They need an Infernal Grasp to kill it now because it's too big for most of their spot removal. Oh. If they bounce it, that would be very, very bad. Destroy target creature at toughness 4 or more. And now we get to attack. Okay, game 1, down, we're good. I'm trying to think if we need a Fateful Absence. I don't think so. Boon of Safety is good against... is good against Voltage Surge, not good against Blood Tithe Harvester. And if our opponent is blue, then Fading Hope is something we have to be afraid of. I think we're fine here. We probably should sideboard something, but we're a Spellcraft deck. We're perfect. Heat. So this turn we will Monk of the Open Hand, then Eiganjo, so we trigger both of them. So Monk. Then I'll attack for 2. I don't mind this trade. Now let's hope our opponent doesn't have anything really bad here. We could target the Monk or the... God, that's really, really tough to figure out what we want to do. Alright, Voltage, Surge. So I think we just want to put a +1/+1 counter on the Monk. Now if they have... Alright, yeah. Because this won't die now. Oh, they did have the Infernal Grasp. Alright. Oh, Meat Hook. That's very, very bad for us. What we can do is we can Courage that. We get to Connive. And then we get to give it a +1/+1 counter. And we have a 4/4 Double Striker, which... is a lot. A lot of damage. I'm playing the land instead of keeping it in our hand because we do have Cave of the Frost Dragon, which can help. It will take 2 turns to kill our opponent. With it, they were thinking about flooding away a card in hand, so they had 2 lands. So now... Ooh, what are they gonna do? Kill it? Alright. Opponent's at 4. Very, very close. $18. No! Oh. We attacked too quickly. Okay, well... We meant to keep a Plains up, but instead it automatically kept our Hall of Oracles up. Which is really, really bad. If you didn't know what happened. So I think we might be dead here. I can't imagine we win. Because our opponent has all the mana in the world. And we will just concede. Okay. The games... I mean, that was really, really close, right? And our opponent's removal just lined up really, really well against us. And maybe we could have played a little differently. I mean, we definitely could have. We also definitely could have saved our cave. But that is something that is very, very good to remember and note. How sometimes the auto tapper, specifically with weird lands, can do some really weird things. So that's my bad. And hopefully I do not make the same mistake again. No promises. Play. Okay. I'm not sure how all in we need to go or should go. A braid there. Not drawing a land. I think we still want to do this. But we're losing a lot of value. Our monk is just a 1/1, so not doing anything. If they Kiki Jiki here. Bloodtide Harvester, okay. Another voltage surge, great. I think I'm gonna try and get a land, or get an environmental sciences. But this is a really good trade for them. Corpse Appraiser. Uh-oh. Last thing we need our opponent to do is get card advantage. Infernal, okay. We have Light the Way, where we can return it to our hand if they harvester it. Because they had 2 blood, we could have lighted the way, but it would have made it a 4/4, which is not enough. Let's Mavinda. We get to activate Mavinda, and it will Guiding Voice. We get to Guiding Voice Mavinda now. And we can get a Expanded Anatomy. So, I joked about it, but what Mavinda does is you can cast an instant or sorcery from your graveyard for its mana cost if it targets a creature you control. And if it doesn't target, it costs 8 more. Voltage Surge, and you have the red. Uh-oh. Yeah, And Leonin Lightscribe doesn't really do much here. 4. Our opponent just needs to activate Hive and attack with everything. But they might be afraid of I have no what. And they probably have some removal or interaction here. Yeah. So now we're just dead on board. This seems like a really, really bad matchup. Our opponent... Oh, wow. Our opponent's deck is kind of like... It has a lot of very, very low-cost, efficient removal. So it can 1-for-1 us early on. So we can't really go above them very, very quickly. And then they also have the card advantage from the Corpse Appraiser and the card selection from the Blood Tokens and Expressive Iteration. So they can allow us to not really combo off, and then when it gets to the mid-game, they just use the card advantage and we lose. Let's hope the next one goes a little better. Okay. So we get the Clever Lumimancer. Turn 1. Turn 2, we can Courage. I'll take that. Let's see what our opponent does here. Nothing. So we will Mavinda, which will allow us to light the way if we want to. Or we can have double Sejiri Shelter. I will not block. We'll take all that damage. Five, 6, 7. Alright, it is not lethal. Thundering Raiju. Oh, we could have Hall of Oracles that turn. We're taking a lot of damage here. So let's activate Mavinda. We can light up the way on Mavinda to untap. We get to block, block. We're at 4 and GG. Against a more aggressive strategy, maybe we want the Boon of Safety. It allows us to trade. I don't know if it might be better than Monk. I'm not sure. Oh, probably better than Valorous Stance. At least. We don't need to really destroy big things. We just want ours to live. That seems fine. Keep. Monk. So, clever, pumps up the Monk. And then next turn, we can, out of nowhere, Leonin Lightscribe, then Homestead Courage, which will deal a lot of damage. Go. Adversary will not do enough. Our opponent's going to be on the defensive here. Little do they know. So our monk is lethal by itself. GG. That game, it worked. Okay. This one we're missing some of our spells, but we have a 1-drop and a 2-drop. And, you know, if we mulliganed, the odds of us getting the perfect curve is probably very low. So why not just keep this and hope to draw anything remotely good? That's what I believe anyway. We need to draw the good stuff first. They are a Bant deck. We're gonna attack. Maybe they block. They don't. Maybe we're just supposed to shelter there to create a 1/1 flyer and deal more damage. Well, we've drawn a lot of lands. So this is a little less than ideal. Attacking with that. We're gonna Eiganjo, the hopeful initiate. No blocks. And hope we draw something good. That isn't the good thing I wanted to draw. A Guiding Voice or Homestead Courage would be really, really helpful. Oh, and Archon of Myria? We can just concede. Maybe I should not have kept that hand. Do I want the Absence? Nah, we're fine here. Oh, no, we probably want the Absence over the Valorous Stance. Yeah, that seems fine. I think this matchup should be pretty not terrible. Oh wow, This would be great if we had a plains. Okay. Keep, I'll get rid of the... Yep. Our opponent can't block here. Alright, this is okay. Because we get to... Alright, we need to be careful. We're gonna colorless, white, Clarion Spirit, Courage, the Virtuoso. Get to Connive, and discard a Courage. And now we're attacking with a really, really big Trampler. Not Trampler, Double Striker. And our opponent's at a really low life total. For now. And next turn we get to Lightscribe with Hall of Oracles. So we're gonna cast 2 spells. We'll get to Connive. Everything will become really, really big. Do that. Discard that. We'll put a counter. Oh no, that's already a 5, so we can just put a counter on something with flying to ensure that we deal damage. Our opponent's going to go down to 11 here. I'm assuming they will block something here. Brutal Cathar. Oh, I wonder where. That, okay. We can Homestead Courage that. Put a counter. Put a counter. Light up the way. And that is lethal. It is 11 damage in the air. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. I don't love this that much. However, having... This is a really, really big threat here, and having the ability to connive our lands away, I think will be really, really good. We need our opponent to not have Brutal Cathar. If our opponent has Brutal Cathar, then we're in a really, really bad spot. Guess what, everyone? Ranger class, okay. I mean, I will double block the Brutal Cathar. Because I want... to connive. Sigarda, Champion of Light. Okay. Let's... Oh, I want to go into full control. I may have almost messed up very, very badly there. We're gonna discard Light Up the Way. And then I'm gonna give it... I have to use Sejiri to give it pro-white. Right? But I need to do that before I can target it again. I guess it didn't necessarily matter that much. So let's do that. I think we win. We get the Homestead Courage, Connive, discarding that. Then we get to give it pro green. And attack for 18. And kill our opponent. I'll take it. Thank you for watching me play some mono white standard Magecraft. The deck worked sometimes. And that was really, really surprising. And I think it also surprised our opponents when we killed them out of nowhere. I learned the most that obviously in a deck that is aggressive and that requires you to put pressure on as early as possible and to have all your pieces line up, you need to mulligan for those pieces, because otherwise you will just have a hand that pumps up creatures that aren't there, or you'll have a hand with the creatures but no payoff. So mulliganing aggressively is something that you probably need to do here, and that can be very, very hard because it also feels really bad. The deck didn't do so well against the Grixis deck with removal, and I think that might be something maybe we need to bring in the Boons of Safety to help mitigate, but I think that just might be a problem in general. However, against the more aggressive strategies, I think you can compete with those very, very well, because your creatures will be bigger early on, so you're going to have advantageous attacks, and they're going to be chump blocking and not knowing what to do. So I think depending on what decks you expect to be facing, this is a good choice, but regardless, I think it is a very, very fun, nice deck. And I hope you enjoyed it, because I definitely enjoyed playing it. So, if you haven't already, you should totally like, comment, or subscribe. Those are great ways to support me. And you can also watch me play Magic most days of the weeks at twitch.tv/thenerdysteve. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Bye.